What's up everyone, Tara Roberts here with FantasyPros. In this video, I'm covering the biggest risers and fallers in ADP over the past 14 days in half PPR. ADPs are constantly on the move, so staying up to date on the latest trending players is critical to your fantasy season. DARRELL Henderson, from 63rd to 57th. DARRELL Henderson's ADP currently sits at 57 overall, and that ADP has been on a wild ride ever since the unfortunate season-ending injury for Cam Akers. From assumptions on Henderson being the RB1, to speculation on if they'd bring in a free agent, to Henderson having a minor thumb injury, all the way to the Rams doing their signature move of trading away draft picks and getting Sony Michel. But Sean McVay has been very adamant that Henderson is the lead back, and they are very confident in his abilities. Jerry Jeudy, from 82nd to 76th. Jerry Jeudy's talent has been a given, but his ADP is on the rise, sitting currently at 76 overall. You can't help but think that some of that rise is due to clarity in who will be throwing him the ball. The Broncos recently announced Teddy Bridgewater as their starting quarterback. Drew Lock struggled with consistency in 2020, completing only 57% of his passes, while Bridgewater boasted a 69% completion rating that should help set up Jeudy for success in his sophomore season. Both Robbie Anderson and DJ Moore had over 1,000 receiving yards with Bridgewater last season, so volume will be on the rise for Jeudy. Trey Sermon, from 85th to 79th. Trey Sermon's ADP has jumped from 85th to 79th as he continues to make his presence known within the 49ers offense. He currently sits behind Raheem Mostert and is poised to take on a starting role in the event of an injury. Sermon will be involved in the offense immediately as their RB2. The 49ers have a run-heavy offense that does like to rotate running backs, so Sermon will have a great opportunity to showcase his skill set early on. Corey Davis, from 116th to 108th. Buzz around Elijah Moore during training camp was extremely strong, but it's the ADP of Corey Davis that's on the rise, jumping from 116 to 108 overall. Zach Wilson is showcasing extremely well in preseason, and part of that showcase has been due to a great connection with Corey Davis, including a game against the Packers where Wilson and Davis connected on 4 receptions for 70 yards. Davis seems poised to assume the wide receiver 1 role and thrive on a strong connection with Wilson. JAMAAL Williams, from 120th to 115th. Rounding out our ADP risers, we have JAMAAL Williams going from 120 to 115. Lions offensive coordinator Anthony Lynn has been very vocal regarding the roles of both JAMAAL Williams and DeAndre Swift, assuring drafters that while Williams may be the RB2 in the offense, he will still have a significant role, making him a fantastic bench option for fantasy owners. Swift is also battling an injury that could linger into Week 1, which would place Williams in the lead back role. DJ CHARK, from 81st to 87th. DJ CHARK's ADP has dropped from 81st to 87th recently, and much of that has to do with a hairline fracture in his finger, resulting in surgery that has kept him off the field. Head coach Urban Meyer said recently that CHARK will be back for Week 1, but drafters may be a little wary given CHARK's injury history in prior seasons. CHARK also has major competition for the #1 wide receiver option, with Laviska Shenault making a strong offseason push. Curtis Samuel, from 121st to 127th. Curtis Samuel is unfortunately another player dealing with injury that has caused his ADP to drop, moving him from 121 to 127. Samuel has been dealing with a groin injury that caused him to miss time during training camp and preseason, and while head coach Ron Rivera recently said he's optimistic regarding Samuel's return, there's no timetable for when he'll be ready for action, and if he'll even be available to start the season. Marquise Brown, from 112th to 120th. With Marquise Brown, we have another player whose ADP is dropping due to injury, causing him to move from 112 to 120 in ADP. Brown has been out for over a month with a hamstring injury, causing drafters to pivot from someone who was already considered a risky option to begin with. Brown recently returned to practice, so it's possible he could be ready to start the season for a Ravens team that has been hit hard by injuries. David Johnson, from 99th to 104th. David Johnson's ADP has moved from 99 to 104 recently, which coincides with the Texans showing they are moving more towards a running back by committee. While Johnson was fairly successful for his value last season, the Texans brought in multiple backs through free agency, including Mark Ingram, Philip Lindsay, and Rex Burkhead. None of those names seem poised to take a huge lead out of the backfield, making the Texans' running back group hard to depend on. DeVante Parker, from 140th to 151st. DeVante Parker's ADP has dropped from 140 to 151. He has the lowest ADP of the Dolphins' 3 primary receivers, and all 3 have had injury scares or concerns this preseason. So why is Parker's ADP the one that's falling? Miami's offense is full of pass-catching weapons, including Jalen Waddle, Will Fuller, Mike Gesicki, and even Myles Gaskin. And as preseason has moved forward, it's become even more apparent that Parker's role is likely the wide receiver 3 in this offense. Parker simply may not be a consistent option or repeat his 2020 production. And that wraps up the biggest ADP risers and fallers in half PPR. Be sure to follow and subscribe to FantasyPros across all social media platforms so you don't miss out on any of the content that we have coming up for the 2021 season.